Got you at a slight angle for artistic vision, of course. Also, does everything sound better? It should do, for reasons. So I had a massively long script about, you know, everything. I spent all of last night talking about it, and it was almost self-fulfilling prophecy, because I was talking about how if I have an idea I can't sleep, and this was... where is it? 3:18. I finally finished it. So, I mean, I'll go through some of it, but... So I turned 26 today, and my life's over. It's all over now, isn't it? It's all gone, dusted. I'm too old for all this now. We're quickly coming up to the 10-year anniversary of the channel, which will happen, I think, while I'm at EGX, which is a bit awkward, but we will be going to EGX again this year. So if anyone's making it there, say hi. I wanted to talk almost candidly about what it's like being me at 26. Because that was something I always did. I stopped doing the Thinkbox episodes, so this is almost a bit of a whoops. I guess the main thing that's really hit me about being 26 is learning to put myself first. Because I was raised very differently. I was raised to always think of others and put others first, and that was how to be nice, is by basically inconveniencing yourself every time. Everyone I know, everyone you know, I've been in a relationship with, they were always top priority. It always put everything else to the side in my life, because I thought that was what you had to do to make someone happy, because that was how I was raised. It was only, I'd say, in the past year that I became self-aware on that level. I've always been fairly self-aware, but this was something that I didn't even know was a massive problem. Turns out it's not normal to put everything in your life aside for anyone that walks into your life that you want to make happy. It's safe to say being 26 or becoming 26 has been the most liberating year of my life, both for what I want to do, who I want to be, how I'm going to do it, who I'm going to do it. You know, I used to care about the success when it came to YouTube. I used to, when I first started doing this, it was me trying to convince other people that, not that I could do it, but you know, I tried to promise to people like, oh, I'll be successful on here for this reason, or you know, I'll do it and become big and be this thing. And I've realized I never actually wanted that, and it's been really hard to come to terms with the fact that I keep telling other people that sort of stuff, and them believing in me added so much pressure that, I don't know, you know, when people say like as you get older you just stop giving a shit what other people think, and I guess it's signs of that setting in maybe. But I very quickly come to realize this year that I held myself back because of the expectations that I thought other people wanted from me, because I was always trying to be ahead of the curve in my own head. I would intentionally not do things to not look like a certain person or do a certain thing. Like I would watch other people that make stuff and I'd be like, oh, that'd be so cool, I could do a thing like that, and then I'd be like, nah, people have already done it, so there's no point me doing that. Or like, oh, there's, for instance, I want to start doing a tech channel because I'm surrounded by it. It's what I really, really love more than anything else, honestly, is tech. Gadgets, like my desk space. You can't see it right now. It's changed a lot. I will do on that channel. I will go through everything that I have, but it's just, look at my life, dude. Ignore that one. That's like the health and beauty section. But like camera, I've learned to do a bit of DIY. Fucking, that's my old rig boxes. Fucking streaming gadgets. This is Nvidia 3D vision glasses. Like, I've been on this shit my whole life, and I never thought about doing that, because I was like, oh, there's other people that are already doing it and doing it well and better, and I don't know, I cared too much. I didn't like, when I was making horror videos, I intentionally tried not to be jump scared, because I didn't want to be put in that category of, I mean, don't get me wrong, I just generally don't get scared easy, but I intentionally toned down that stuff because people around me were like, oh, I hate those screaming horror YouTubers, and I was like, yeah, I let that kind of get in my head as well, you know. I've always muted myself to be certain ways. I remember growing up, when I used to play on the old Xbox late at night, playing Nazi zombies and stuff, always being told to be quiet, both for the neighbors. You know, that's I guess a natural one. But then I learned to be too quiet, and I didn't like making noise, and I got really shy that someone would hear me outside maybe, and you know, everything got kind of, you know. Honestly, going between 25 and 26, other people figure this out a long time ago. Other people don't even have to figure it out. But I have a lot of problems, so it's taken me way longer. And it's interesting that, because I tend to find time the most valuable thing of all, like the time wasted, time spent, time invested, time this, that, and the other. Time is more important to me than anything. And that's been another really important realization for me this year, is like, I care more about time than money. I realized that making stuff, be it about tech, just screaming about stuff like that, making videos on games I love. Me and Jay are talking about doing a podcast to add another thing to the list of things that I'll do. Like, I want to do everything. I need to bleed this, like, creativity. I know people will be like, oh, I'm doing it now, look. I know people will look at this and be like, oh, you play fucking video games. And it's different when you're doing it. Like, for most people, yeah, they're just like making video game videos and putting it up. And I'm doing the same process, but in my head, it's how, like, I need to feel. The way I can relate it is, I went on a music binge a little while ago. I plan to very much go back to that. I'm literally saving up for a keyboard to do music. And it's like, I'm just bleeding creativity all the time. And the thing is, I hear this from a lot of artists that I like. NF being one, the song Leave Me Alone. That song made me cry, because I thought the way I was collapsing on myself was like, I don't know, the way I was muting myself was really normal, I guess. Or like, I was doing that because of certain reasons that I literally cannot think of now. I'm not doing it anymore. But in that song in particular, he talks about how, he thinks of a rhythm or a rhyme, or, you know, he thinks of something and he literally can't sleep. Like, you have to, I've never related to something so much in my life. You have to get that out. You have to, like, you can't do anything while it's in there. And it's mesmerizing, to be honest. And I've learned that that's almost what this is for me, like the process of editing a video. And I spend time, well, it's a combination of things, actually. I muted myself because I was rushing always to do a video a day back along, and I didn't get to actually inject any of me into it. I was like, gotta get the video up. You know, there's people are gonna beat this game release day. I need to try and catch up somehow and add a little flair. People won't see it. And then, yeah, just as I've gone on, I'm like, I don't care though. You know, it's something that I have to get it out. It's not even for the reasons I convinced myself it was for, because those were reasons other people were like weighing in on. And it's like, yeah, I can't put it into words what the last year has been for me. It's crazy to really, like, discover yourself in such a short amount of time. Also, I'm going to get into some heavier stuff now, so strap in. Another thing I've learned is the actual effects of my personality flaws and downfalls, and, like, just the effects they have on me and what I should do about it. For instance, like, I know that I get stressed incredibly easy trying to juggle 15 projects while, you know, and sometimes I look at other people who are doing one particular thing and they do it really well, while I'm over here, like, trying to carry all my ideas around. And people need to give themselves time, you know, to actually do things fully in their head. And I've realized something about me is that I don't do that. And I won't do that, because I can't possibly keep up with myself if I took the time out for, I don't know, as people say, like, you need that relaxing time or the downtime, and I just don't. And I guess I have that thing where, like, people say, as a creative person, like, if you feel like you're not doing anything, you feel useless. And I guess kinda, but it's not really like that, because it's not that I feel useless. It's that I feel like I'm not actually doing the things that I want to do. You know, if I sit there and I'm like, I'm gonna have a day off today and relax, I will spend that entire time just like, I could be doing one of my projects. I really want to do one of them. Why am I stopping myself? And it's like needing to take a day off, but not even wanting a day off, you know? And I won't even feel better afterwards. I'll feel worse that I wasted time. And I don't think that's going to change about me. Because you know, that's another thing as well, like sucking in other people's advice. Of like, oh yeah, you gotta do it like that. And it's like, that shit don't work for me. It just doesn't. You know, it doesn't make me feel better. It doesn't help me mentally or otherwise. Like, it just doesn't help. So I guess as a small confession, basically, I don't care if this ever gets big, honestly. I don't care if this ever makes money. That's a bonus, honestly. It's a bonus. But I'm just not gonna, you know, do things because I feel I need to do things anymore. And that's a massive thing for me, because I've been nothing but a people pleaser my whole life. And I've tried to stay ahead of everyone else and everything, and try to really be one step ahead, when in my own head, being that step ahead has actually just been me holding myself back from everything I actually want to do. Basically being a fucking sheep by trying to read a room and then be that thing. And it's crazy. It's a crazy change of mind, change of concept, and I mean, look at me now. What the fuck's going on? I've spent so many nights like crying over things that I want to do and need to do. And another thing, here I go, ADHD mode. Another thing is, I live in like a permanent state of existential crisis. And it's crazy. I'm almost constantly thinking about all the stuff I'm not going to get to do. And it's killing me every day. Seriously. I have a thought almost daily about how I'm only going to experience like 15 good games left in my life. I'm only going to see so much tech. I'm only going to experience so many movies, because in the example of games, a real good one takes 5 to 6 years to make. You know, in terms of tech, shit evolves all the time, but it kills me that I'm not going to get to see it at some point. And life just sucks. It's just a big tease. I guess I treat every second of my life as a time I could be building something, doing something, just these ideas just out of my head all the time. And it does put me in like a constant state of duress. Like, I'm at work during the day, and I'm just like, when I get home, gonna do that. I've also got to do this. For instance, in my mind right now, I'm wondering how I'm gonna build the sound panels to go on the wall. I'm wondering how I'm gonna redo the cable management under my desk. I'm wondering how I'm gonna spruce up the my Stream Deck with little icons to make it look nicer. I'm wondering when the Elgato mic arms are coming back in stock. I'm wondering when I'm gonna get a new keyboard to fit the aesthetic. I'm wondering how I'm gonna fit the green screen MT up there. I'm wondering how I'm going to get multi-camera angles up there, because I'm running out of plug sockets with the extension cables running all around my room, and trying to make it look clean and also still do a setup. My head, me and Jay want to make a podcast, you know? I want to do a tech channel. I want to make music. I'm constantly stressed at the fact that there is simply not enough time in a day for me to do things. That didn't even include everything else. Spending time with the girlfriend, spending time with friends. I've been a terrible friend this year. For the past 8 months, I think Brad told me the other day, like, I've seen him 3 times this year. In 8 months. Never before have I done that. Because it's reached a peak of, like, me just I don't have time for absolutely everything. And that's the biggest realization I've come to, is learning to prioritize what actually matters. And I've been spending way more time with friends over other things, because it really does matter to be more. And being able to, in my head, prioritize and put everything in the right place has been fucking huge for me. I know most people will link most of this stuff to like anxiety, depression, paranoia, or like, all those other spicy things. And yeah, I do have those things, but I mean, most people do. That's not to minimalize it, but it's not quite the same, because it is truly an ache that's inside me. It's something that I'm really trying to get out, and it's not just something that all that stuff's there and it sounds like that stuff, but it's not quite the same. I can't tell you how many nights I spent like really sad and depressed and coming down on myself for not being able to do all these things, while also not prioritizing myself to do those things. I prioritized, making other people feel better, and it made me really bitter, just generally, because I would then be giving all of myself to these people when they wanted it, when they asked for it, because people pleasing. And then it made me really bitter, because obviously when the shoe's on the other foot and you're like, well, cool, let's do something for me then, seeing as I always do something for you. And then that in general is an asshole flat blanket statement. So then they're like, this guy's a dick. You don't have to do any of that stuff. And it's like, yeah, you're right. That's something that I'm doing. And then you start to expect things like that from other people, and you just look like a dickhead. When in actuality, you're just fucking crying out for someone else to, do things the way you do things. But that's not life in general. I was literally never taught to put myself first in anything. And I guess now I'm figuring it all out. And I mean, the fun thing, I guess the important thing about turning 26 for me has been like, I'll still people please occasionally, but now I'm aware of it. I'll still not make time for myself, and I'll still be juggling 15 projects and not being able to focus on a single one of them. I'll still be doing all of these things. For instance, like the podcast. Who knows how far we'll get with that? Making music, who knows how far I'll get with that? Doing this, who knows how far I'll get with it? Will I even start a tech channel? Will I make time? The past decade, I have videos on think boxes of like just spewing ideas and things that I want to do, and that's the fun thing, I guess, about being 26, is actually figuring myself out. Again, other people will figure themselves out way before, some people way after. I have serious ADHD, I have serious disabilities, mental health, all this sort of stuff that have really delayed that progress. But it's so liberating to actually just get all your eggs in order. In a lot of ways, I'm proud of myself, because yeah, I have so many problems like trauma, disability, mental health over and over again. Say it, just keep saying it, keep peddling it, make people feel sorry for you. There he goes in his own head again. And I'm proud of myself the past year. I truly am, because it's neurotic, it's crazy, and I don't know how other people would handle it, but I'm doing good. I guess thinking I was chasing YouTube success to be successful is the biggest lie I've told myself and other people, because I would tell people every couple of months, out of almost brutal shame of not being successful, that I would change it up. I'd start chasing trends, or I'd start using memes, and I'd do all this stuff that ultimately didn't make me happy. It didn't fulfill my creativity. And yeah, it turns out to just not be, it wasn't me, I was trying to do all these things to chase YouTube fame, which is something that didn't even want necessarily. It's like a whole different path to getting there, It was that I wanted to feel proud of myself and be successful in myself. It's like right now on the back burner, for an example, my external is filled to the brim with recordings. Games we've already beaten. Me and Chris have beat 1 game. Me and Jay are 2 games behind. And I'm currently uploading Lego Star Wars, a game that I know no one will look for. But I've shut it down so much now that I'm like, I don't care. I'm so happy currently in the time I spend making those videos, knowing full well that basically no one will see it. But it's me, you know? Like, I guess, like, some people have that meme of, like, never uploading. And I've done, like, 8 videos in the past 5-6 months. Because I've spent some time away literally figuring myself out. And also figuring out what I'm doing wrong just in my life generally. I believe I've learned not to permanently kneecap myself based on trying to figure out other people's opinions in my own head and just constantly stifling and sabotaging myself based on stuff like that. Doesn't mean I'm not. No, don't. That's one step ahead. Don't. Something else I've been aware of for a long time is that I overthink every single decision before I make it. It honestly feels like as an example, like a Telltale or Mass Effect dialogue box goes off in my head, because even in general conversation, just having a normal conversation with anyone, like, you know, while walking or doing whatever, ADHD, going nuts, whatever it is, any interaction, before I do absolutely anything at all, I have to take a minute and think about the consequences. For instance, recording this right now, the consequence that I weighed up. I told the girlfriend to come a little bit later because I wanted to make sure I did this before she got here. Not necessarily a consequence, so to speak, but I then ran through, what if she turns up while I'm mid-recording? This is a particularly important video. What would I do? Would I carry on? Would I make her wait downstairs? That would be more boring for her than her waiting at home. What are we going to eat today? She's asked me since yesterday what did I want to do today, and I still haven't decided. I'm like, I like all these places, but what do you like doing? People pleasing. You know? It's nuts. I almost can't do anything without this constant monitoring. Before I answer any question that someone asks me, I'm like, I know what they'd like to hear. Shall I say that? Or shall I say what I want to say? Or what's the consequences of that? Or should I just do the thing? Should I not answer them? Should I walk away? That'll make things awkward. That might be funny. Should I do that? And this process happens so fast in my head that obviously it doesn't look any different to anyone else because I've got so good at it, where I'm just like brrrr all the time, and it's fun for me, but I'm sure it's not fun for anyone else. And on the other side of that coin, I am just the perfect combination to be a fuck-up human, honestly. Because on the other side of that, I have ADHD. So it's completely fucking random. I could literally be stood there like, what do they want to hear? Like in my head, just overthinking. And then on the other hand, I'm just like, bleh, yeah. And then just fuck off. And so I have sometimes overthinking, and then other times my brain doesn't finish thinking of the sentence before I've said it. And then that has consequences, obviously. Like, you know, saying something vastly inappropriate, or saying something like just that you generally shouldn't say or something. It's almost like Tourette's, I guess. I'll put that on the list, I guess. The upside to this, and something that I really pat myself on the back for, is when it comes to like politics and opinions, because I will always be able to understand both sides. That's why one of the reasons me and Jay, I've wanted to make a podcast for a while. I talked about it with the lads, but our schedules just didn't line up for it, and we share a lot of interests, but we already know what each other's gonna say, so to speak. Like, we've been friends and together that long that it wouldn't be as interesting. But I mean, technically I've known Jay the longest, but he likes having those debates, so that's probably how it'll be. But yeah, being able to really overanalyze something is a massive perk to a podcaster. So that's a massive advantage. To be fair, I'm such a remarkably inconsistent and unpredictable human. I think I could probably make the Danganronpa cast for that, actually. The most inconsistent hero. But the upside to overthinking, obviously, is that I'm remarkably good at understanding people. Some people around me probably wouldn't agree with that, but that's because they only get to see my actions, not my thought process. When in reality, you know, the result of something that I've said or done can make me come across as an asshole when in my head I've thought the whole thing through, you know? So I'm being really considerate here, not so much here. And then they're like, wow, what the fuck? And I'm like, God, I love this guy, you know? I love you so much. You are my best friend. What? And then out my mouth, what actually comes out is like, why the fuck are you doing that? And they're like, what a dick. Meanwhile, I'm like, God, I love this guy. So cool. I'm so proud to have you as my friend. And it's like, why would you do that? It's like, what's going on? So due to overthinking, I do also massively existentially, that's not even a fucking sentence. I do have massive existential moments about how I spent the last 10 years. And I've been thinking about it from the moment I wasted a minute, basically. From the second I started, not that it's wasted, but from the moments right from the beginning all the way to now, the entire way I've been constantly like, damn, that was a year wasted. Damn, that was time I could have spent doing something that I wanted to do now. And I have a choice. Essentially, I could spend the rest of my life constantly doing that. You know, I could spend every minute from here on, like I did then, constantly, existentially regretting the previous minute and spending a minute regretting the previous minute. Or I could think about how it's got me to where I am now, to the point where I can actually think freely, you know. I've got it all figured out now. I'm largely at peace, basically, with what it took to get me to this moment, instead of my usual constant wish I did something else. I've done a lot of room improvements. I've intentionally framed this video so you couldn't see most of them, because I want there to be a much bigger surprise when I start streaming. The second rig's here. It's been here for about 4 weeks. I've used it a grand total of 6 times, maybe. I'm intentionally trying not to use it, but I've also been really busy with absolutely everything else. So it's here. I don't know if it will stream after all this, because I think the problem might persist on this rig. So we will see. But if not, worst comes to worst, I tell you what, that rig is strong enough to be a dual rig. So, to be honest, if this one can't do it or it lets me down in some way, I'll wait till I buy a better GPU for this thing. Or maybe it's the board, maybe it's the RAM that's old, could be anything. But I will just use that rig. We will be back streaming. I can't make promises, because obviously I take ideas and due to ADHD, the new idea immediately becomes the next thing. I've been promising games to be played since like 2011. I've had people have brought me games. Like, someone brought me, I'm sorry that I can't remember because it has been about 5-6 years. It might have been Myth or Nick. Someone brought me Oxygen Not Included in like 2015. And I was like, yes! Still haven't got around to it. It's been over half a decade. I still haven't got around to it. I don't think I've even played it. I might have 1 minute, actually, where I booted it. And I was like, oh, the soundtrack sounds good. Don't have time now, though. So I can't promise. I want to stream. I'll do it like this from now on. I would like to start streaming next payday, because I will be paying for all the stuff. Actually, I suppose that's not a good idea, is it? Because I need to pay for things, have it ordered, build the things, put them up. So I would like to start streaming by the end of this month. We'll go with that. I would like to start streaming. I plan to come back with a just chatting stream, just to chill, talk, and just have a nice relaxing one. And then we'll think about games to do. We'll talk it out. We'll have ideas. But I'm essentially waiting for next payday to get paid to buy the things, to do the stuff. But between that, now you know I want to do music. Now you know I want to do podcasting. Now you know I want to do tech. I really want to do tech. I mean, I like vlogging when I get chance. There's nothing I don't want to do. I get all these ideas and plans, and I want to do all these things. But because of ADHD, as an example, I'll get a new idea, and that immediately takes the fucking, like, priority list. I'm like, yes, this, then this, then this, then this. And I'm like, oh, I could do that. And then that just immediately goes at the top of the chain, just ready to be... Can you see it? Is that in frame? That is in frame. As a fun example, game collecting. That's generally someone's only hobby. There was a payday from August 2019, and then like March 2020, and I keep just switching between my hobbies that I want to do. That's one of them, and it's crazy because obviously that's something that you would otherwise put all your money, all your time, all your investment, and I can't. It's crazy. I just, each month I get a new idea for something that I want, and then I have to relearn and redo everything. Learning to, like, I had a binge of editing. I bought four new editing softwares because I wanted to expand and find the strengths of each one and learn to do it all. I wanted to learn more thumbnail techniques, learn how to make some graphics, do some like VFX and graphic design. Learning music. I have 2 music softwares. I want one more. I want to buy a keyboard. Tech channel. I'm waiting for the Elgato mic arms to come in. I would like to cover those because I use generic, can that even reach that far? I think it can. I use literally just generic stands, and I would like to free up the desk space by having a couple of arms and how nice they look. I even have hang on. I realise I'm rambling at this point. I have this, never used it. The bolts are still in the packaging and it's got dust on it. Like, it's... There's so much stuff I just grasp and then forget about. And look at that, this is a boxed plasterboard saw. I've just... Why am I this way?